From the previous lesson we learned how to create attractive and mind-blowing renders from scratch. And in this lesson we will learn how to bring them to life with animation and attract even more people to your work and show that you are a professional. So let's get started. And the first thing we need to do is attach the leaves to the branches, so that later it will be much easier to animate them. So let's select them with Shift held down, and the last object select the branch. Then press Ctrl+P, object keep transform, and now if we move the branch, the leaves will move with it. So let's do the same for other side. And if you look at the branches moving due to the wind, in real life they will not move like this. So let's fix that. For this we need to select the branch and go to the edit mode and select the last vertices of this branch with Alt held down, and then press Shift+S and choose cursor to select it, and this will move our cursor to selected vertices. And now we need to exit edit mode, right click and choose set origin to cursor, and now because we moved the origin of this object back, we can rotate it in a way that is more similar to real branches in real life. And now let's do the same for the other branch. Select the last vertices of this branch with Alt pressed and then press Shift+S and choose cursor to select it. And then right click and choose set origin and then to cursor. Okay, now our branches are ready for animation. But if we try to rotate the leaves, we will notice a similar problem. And we can solve it in the same way. Let's zoom in, and in edit mode we need to select this vertex, then press Shift+S, choose cursor to select it, and then right click and choose set origin to geometry. And if we rotate now, we will notice that this leaf moves more naturally. And we need to do this with each leaf in the scene.
Seeing monsters out your window. No, you can't sleep, you pretend though. You don't have to play the hero. 'Cause I got you like you got me. When the earth shakes, when the bombs scream, until our last breath, every heartbeat.
And when everything is ready, we can start animating. Let's start with the branches and check that we are on the first frame. And to create a keyframe, we need to press K and select rotation. After that, let's go to frame 40, rotate the branch a little, and put the keyframe again. And here's what we got. Now let's go to the frame 80 and just copy the first frame by selecting it and press Ctrl+C and Ctrl+V. Also, to slow down the animation, we can move the last keyframe a little further. Okay, and now let's go to frame 170 and copy and paste the second keyframe. And here's what we got in the end. And this will be the endless animation, so the last frame should be the same as the first one. So we need to copy and paste the first keyframe. And now let's animate the second branch. First we'll go to the first frame and accept the frame just by pressing the letter I, which is another way to apply keyframe. Then we'll go to some other frame, rotate the object, and accept the keyframe. Then we'll go to another frame further away, and again rotate the branch and accept the keyframe. And I think my animation will end on the frame 250, so let's move the last keyframe on this branch to this frame. And also copy and paste the first keyframe on the second branch. And let's see what we get. Let's also change the end of the animation here to frame 250. And our animation looks good, but the leaves looks wooden and spoil the whole picture. So let's animate them. And here we need to do the same thing as we did with the branches. Just select the object, put the keyframe, go to the another frame, rotate it, and put the keyframe again. And then we can just copy and paste the create keyframes until the end of the animation. While not forgetting that if you want to create a loop animation, you need to have the same keyframe at the beginning and at the end. And using this knowledge, we need to create an animation for all the leaves. And as you can understand, animation is a very easy process. And to start animating, you do not need to have an education in 3D. The main thing is not to forget that if you want to make a realistic animation, you need to take into account the rotation of the branch and create an animation of the leaves in accordance with real life and not just rotate them at random. And when you have finished animating the leaves and are happy with the result, let me show you one way that will improve the animation in a couple of clicks and make it more realistic. For this, let's move this window higher, and if we click here, this menu will open, and in it we need to click on Graph Editor. And now let's select every object that we animated. And in this window, we press A to select everything, then press T and choose Bezier, and this will allow us to soften the animation and make it smoother. We can also click here and choose individual origin, which will allow us to select each keyframe separately, and we can scale everything just a little bit, which will make the animation even smoother and more professional. And this is a trick that you can use in any animation, and it will give you a touch of professionalism. Okay, now it's time to animate the camera. And here, as always, we need to go to the first keyframe, zoom the camera with your mouse wheel to the point you want, then press the I key to apply the keyframe, and let's go to the last frame of our animation and move the camera a little. And put another keyframe. And we'll get this result. But since we want to create a loop animation, let's move the last keyframe somewhere in the middle and just copy and paste the first keyframe to the end of the animation. Great, and the last thing we'll have to animate is a gobo light. So let's select it and go to the beginning of the animation and put a keyframe. Then rotate it a little on the x-axis in my case. And also don't forget to go to another frame when you rotate the light. And when you're happy with the angle of rotation, just put a keyframe and as always copy and paste the first frame to the end of the animation. And this is what we get as a result. And to make the animation of the camera and light more realistic, let's go to the graph editor and with the camera selected, press A in this window, then T and select the Bezier. And this made the camera animation smoother at the beginning and at the end. The same thing needs to be done with the gobo light. And in this lesson we learned how to bring to life the render with the help of animation. And all that remains to be done is to adjust the render settings, and so that you don't waste your time on a very long and tedious render. And how to do this we will talk about in the next lesson.